Good morning. Welcome to Sales Chatter, the logistics podcast, where we aim to help million reps hit 10,000 GP or the other way around, where we want 10,000 reps to hit a million GP. I'm your co host, Ryan Mohammed. With me is my good friend, President and CEO of RGTX Logistics Solutions, and the bodacious cowboy, Jeff Dickinson. How you doing this morning, brother?
Good morning, my man. It is Tuesday. We have a great guest on board today. Hello to all the Sales Chatter people out there who've been watching
We need
us.
to get a name. We need to get like the chatters or we need to build.
Yeah, I like that. The chatters. So, with that said, let's get in today's show. Let's go.
Boom.
Welcome to the HPLS podcast. Live, relevant, and high performance information, conversations, and education weekly.
Yeah, it's not that often, So we got to figure out the sales chatters. But today's guest is someone that has recently become a subscriber of ours and just been so supportive. I was able to see her on another podcast as well and just see the mindset that she has and that don't give up attitude. And when I was kind of doing a little bit of research on her, Jeff, I noticed that, it wasn't just logistics that she was into as well. She is the owner of an apparel company called Green Faces. I hope you send me and Jeff some merch. I would love that Daydreamer tank. I definitely looking at that. But, she is somebody who supports other women while we're kind of going through our journey together, Jeff. So it was only fair. I think it was like to do justice to bring somebody who can definitely talk about what struggles actually go on within empowering women, not only into logistics, but into business. So, Jeff, today we've got Brandi Church joining us from KCH Transportation. As you know, she's getting some things ready in the background. But what are your thoughts? Can you go over your thoughts, Jeff, of when you were on a different podcast with her?
Yeah, she joined us on Hold My Beer, and we had great conversations. It's just like us, but it's no holds barred, no question is not asked, sort of speaking. And like on our show, man, what we're trying to do is to get answers to improve the relationships between humans. Let's put it that way, because we need all the support that we can get to support all the women out there who are struggling, who don't have that confidence, or afraid to ask those pertinent questions to get them to where they need to be. So that's what you and I do every single day, is to bring on these guests to get their input, to get their feedback, to see what kind of obstacles and barriers they had to go busting through in order to get to where they are. You and I both know logistics is not an easy environment, and definitely not an easy environment for women who are entering it, especially new ones that are just graduated college and entering the field, are wet behind the ears, don't know those questions. Hopefully what we do on a daily basis is going to help them to get to where they need to be. So that's what the goal is.
Yeah, so let's welcome her to the show. And she is a Wildcats fan, so I do want to apologize for that loss, that L that they took over the weekend. But we want to welcome Brandi Church over to Sales Chatter. Good morning, Brandi. How you doing this morning?
Good morning. Yeah, I'm pretty heartbroken about that loss. So thank you for bringing that up right out the gate.
Hey, I still got that in there.
I know. Now I'm just going for all the upsets. I'm that kind of fan. Once I'm out, then it's like I got to go for the upsets.
Yeah, that's what you got to do. I think I'm in Canada, so we don't really not necessarily we don't care about March Madness, but it's not something that we always kind of do. So for me, anytime we had brackets in the office, I would just pick the place that I'd want to visit. And it never worked out for me, so I never won any brackets, but it's been pretty cool to kind of see. So we want to welcome you to our show this morning, to Sales Chatter. Like we said, that you've been watching and you've been participating, and honestly, it's amazing to kind of see the interaction. Let everybody know, how did you get started with logistics? How did logistics find you? And let's hear a bit about your origin story.
Yeah, well, first and foremost, thank you so much for having me. I can't applaud you two enough for what you're doing for women in the logistics industry and just women in general. So really, really grateful to be here. As Jeff knows, and Ryan, I am a rookie when it comes to logistics. I've been in logistics since January of this year. So I am brand new. I was in the sales world for a very long time and still am, just in a different industry now. But come from B2B sales and customer experience background, and just found myself looking for a new opportunity at the beginning of this year, and landed with KCH Transportation. Was really excited to join them based off of the interview experience that I had. The culture here is phenomenal, and that's what led me into a new industry. Honestly, was the experience with the people that I interviewed with. It's pretty cool to see, coming from lead generation and B2B sales, the parallels between the two. Super different industry. I learned something new every day, but it's been really exciting.
It's awesome to hear about because, like you said, that interview process was amazing. And I was taking a look at this morning at the Instagram page for KCH Transportation, and
Yeah.
you could tell that they're definitely up there. They got a young vibe. They've got a vibe that people who want to help each other and go with growth. And like you said, you're brand new, getting into the industry. What kind of, not say we won't talk about training, but what kind of guidance have you kind of had since you've been with the company and ongoing for like your professional in terms of like where you want to go in this industry?
Yeah, definitely. I think guidance is something that's just surrounds me here, which is really cool. Um, I am in an environment where people actually really want to see other people win and aren't just faking it to be nice and be polite, but truly believe in other people winning. And so the knowledge is always flowing. There's always collaboration. There's always input. There's always questions being asked, questions being answered. So it's just really, really cool to be in an environment where you're able to ask any question without feeling bad about it and be able to really dive into the industry, learn the terminology, learn the operations, and be around people who care for you to succeed. And not just from a management level, but also from a peer level, which has been really beautiful.
That's awesome. And you know what? Let's go back to January when Brandi just got into industry. Walk us through what happened on day one when you walked into that office, your feelings, and then the next steps that you took over the next couple of weeks. And I ask you this because there's a lot of women out there who are just entering the industry like yourself.
Sure.
Who are kind of leery, don't know the right questions to ask, kind of tentative a little bit. So try to ease that kind of pain for those who are watching, what to expect. I know that each company that you work for act differently, but tell us about KCH, what they did for you.
Yeah, definitely. Walking in the first day, I was very excited, but obviously very nervous, knowing that I was coming into a new industry and a new company. This was the company I wanted to work for, though. I had interviewed with other companies, so I was so excited that I had been given the opportunity. I think as women, sometimes with how we've been raised in the world that we live in, we strive for perfection. And I guess like the biggest thing I would say is like, set that down, like leave that alone. Like being perfect is never going to happen. Like I'm not perfect. No one on here is perfect. Like it's not going to happen. And if you're afraid, if you're asking the right question, just kind of drop that baggage off, right? And just ask. Walking into the door, they told me, right out the gate, ask everything and anything. We want you to be comfortable. We want you to be supported. We want to make sure that we're helping you learn and achieve what you've came here to achieve, and anything we can do for you, we will. And it's one thing to say that, but it's another thing to act on that. And so within the first week of being here, I saw that more than I was told that, even though I was told that consistently. I was like, I don't know what I'm going to be able to do here, right? In the first week, I don't know how I'm going to achieve these things. I've never worked in logistics before. I come from tech sales. I come from the HCM industry. Like this is not the same thing. But I was very, very enlightened by the amount of information given to me to learn. It was a lot, but I love that because it would be terrible for me to walk into an environment and not have the information to learn to succeed. I'd rather be overwhelmed with information than not have the information. And so, kudos to KCH and specifically the Tampa branch where I'm at for doing that. But definitely a lot of feelings that first week, Jeff.
There you go. So did they train you like on CRM and TMS and using that or other tools that was given to you?
So the training was offered, but I come from a background of helping companies implement CRM. So I actually was very familiar with the CRM. And so they didn't really need to train me. It was more so me asking them if there was any specific things in their SOPs that I needed to know.
Nice.
But this environment is very relaxed to the sense of we don't really have KPIs, and we are encouraged to sell the way that we are very comfortable in selling, which is huge. It's awesome. I come from the digital sales space, so I want to sell digitally and network and be in person, and I'm allowed to do that. So
It's awesome.
I love that so much because, like you said, you sold digitally. So at the end of the day, those skills that you've learned there, they're transferable, right? Selling is selling. It's all relationship based. We got a couple questions here from the audience. First one here is going to be for you from Daman at Centurion Trucking. What was your biggest fear coming into the industry, and how are you overcoming it?
yeah, great question. Thank you for that. Biggest fear, I think, was failure. And what I've been reading on and seeing from some of my colleagues throughout the business here, and just even this show, the women who have been on this month, is like failing is a good thing, because failing means you're out there. Failing means you're trying. Failing means that you're willing to do what it takes. And so that was definitely my biggest fear. Like I haven't been in logistics, and what am I going to do? And I've really had to push myself mentally to break those barriers and say, like, just keep doing, and just keep talking and just keep getting to know people and find the parallels from what you've done before to how it transfers now.
That's amazing.
Yep. It's like Ashley just said in the comments, fail forward. Love that.
You got to fail forward. And another question from Damon as well is, from what you've kind of seen since being here since January, is that what potential and opportunity do you see in industry that you would welcome others to come in the industry to come in and explore? That's a great question. I really like that because it's really referral based. So I'd love to get your feedback on that.
Yeah, definitely. This is a cool question. I like this question too. I would say that this industry, I mean, depending on what part of the industry you're going after or you're finding you're going to be the specialist in, which is highly recommended and something I'm working on, it's always changing. So like there's always opportunity. Like even when in a down market, there's opportunity to just build relationships and be there and prepare for when the market turns back up. But then there's different seasons, right? We're going into produce right now. It's blueberry season. Like talk to people about blueberries. It's just a really cool industry to be able to be in because there's so many different options, because everything and anything we buy, consume, eat, look at, wear, it's going to be transported some way, somehow. So it's really just kind of like, take a pick. Do you want to talk to people about moving apparel, or do you want to talk to people about moving blueberries? But there's a ton of opportunity, and I think that's the coolest thing. So if you're interested in logistics, come on in, because you can find some stuff you actually care about.
You're amazing. I love this. You're a great spokesperson for saying this. Just full of energy and just full of motivation for other people out there. You mentioned something about talking about leaders, asking like, hey, where they want to go and things like that. Where do you want to go in this industry? What does your future look like? And what are some things that you have on kind of like your personal and professional bucket list that you want to attain?
Yeah. For me, I'm really big on building relationships. So right now, my core focus is building relationships with my customers, building relationships with new customers, and just really building a book of business with businesses that I like to work with. I am not a big believer on just getting money. I love money because I need it, and that's the world we live in. But I'm big on working with people I like, because to me, health is wealth. And if I'm stressed out all the time, then I don't want to be in that environment. So I look for people that I really enjoy working with. So that's right now. But in the future, to answer your question in full, I definitely want to get to the position where I'm able to give back in this industry and be able to teach other people, techniques and tricks. I come from sales training background. I'd love to move back into that space, but in a logistics way, and be able to help people coming in.
Yeah, to get back to your training and what you're trying to accomplish and the goals and objectives that you want to reach. Some of the hardest things in logistics is finding your own value, your niche, the vertical that you want to work in. What are you doing to uncover those three main things for Brandi?
Yeah, so I don't think I found my niche yet, Jeff, to be honest. I think that I am very much still in the learning phases and just getting to understand, anything from terminology to operations to how different parts of the market move. Is it food? Is it raw materials, like that kind of thing. And I don't necessarily know where I'm going to go. I've played around a little bit with aerospace because I think that's cool, but I'm nowhere near an expert in that field. So I don't have an actual niche. What I will say is what I've been focusing on and how I've been able to obtain customers is transparency in conversation. And I tell them, I'm new. Listen, if you're looking for an expert, I'll not waste any more of your time. I'm backed by a company who's an expert and I have the resources, but I'm not the expert by any means, and just having those really open conversations with them and finding out what they like, what they like and what they don't like and what motivates them and just kind of focusing on the relationship space. And then just, keeping in mind moving into a certain industry too, because I know that that's crucial. But for me, it's just all about the people.
I love that, because the one thing I took away from that is that you didn't mention freight capacity or any of that you're trying to sell. You're trying to uncover what I call those little hidden banks that are there by having those, unique conversations to learn who you're talking to and about their company and their likes and dislikes. Finding your value, your niche, and the vertical that you want to work in is very, very difficult, and that's why I asked you. And it does take a lot of time, Brandi, to go and reach that criteria. But what are you trying to do and to try to find that? Because anybody that's moving into this industry has that same issue. They're experimenting, they're trying a little here, a little there. What is so fluid about it and easy to talk about, and then the next thing you know, you're an SME or a subject matter expert in a specific area that you just love. So what are the steps that you're taking for yourself to try to uncover those specific things?
Yeah, certainly. So learning everything and anything. I keep saying learning, but I really just can't not say that, because that's what it is. I've subscribed to a bunch of different newsletters. I watch podcasts like this one. I get connected with people who are in logistics. I think that in itself has been the biggest help too. I think some people don't want to be connected with other brokers when they're in the brokerage space. I'm going to tell you right now, dumb move. I have made some great friends in that space already in my short time, and I get to learn a lot of things and have actually gotten customers, which I call partners, out of that. But it's really just all comes back to learning. I know I sound like a broken record, but seriously, just learning, and then understanding like which way do you want to go. And paying attention to where we're at in the year, right? Because some things move more in March than don't, right? And understanding when it comes to people and like really getting down to it, Jeff, for me, I this is my favorite word, but it's transparency. Again, I literally ask the questions: how's your day going? What's the business operations looking like? Where are you spending the most time during your day? Like, what stressors can I maybe alleviate for you? Is there even an opportunity? Okay, there isn't an opportunity. Listen, no worries. I know your hands are tied. You're contracted in. You have my info. If you ever need me, reach out. And just really looking at no's as maybe an opportunity in the future and not like it's over and done with. That's what I've been kind of doing.
I love that approach. I really do. I think you're going down the right path for sure.
Yeah, 100%. I couldn't agree more. And the one thing that I don't care if it's controversial or not, but when it comes to like niche, when everyone's kind of talking about, I necessarily don't believe in niches. For me, I was the most successful when I first got into the industry, and I was taking anything and everything, and that's when I legit made the most like gross profit and had the most successful customers. So I went from, hey, where like I would do like, let's say, a load of lobsters to like a load of like flooring to everything. And I think what is really important that people understand is that you can go either way, but when you're kind of like you said, you're backed by experts, and that's the one thing that I need people to kind of understand in the audience, because a lot of people are that cradle to the grave rep. But if you have a team that's backing you who's expert, I got a team that backs me as well, that they're experienced in those things. I don't do intermodal, but they do. I can find an expert there. I don't do ocean shipments, they can help me with that. So I think it's like really important that you understand that you're backed by people, and then you can really go after anything, because
Mhm.
you don't necessarily need to be the SME at that point, but you're backed by somebody who does, as opposed to somebody who, let's say, is cradle to the grave. But coming back to you, what I know that I want to talk a little bit about Green Faces. I know that's something that you got started with, and it's a fun thing. Can you let everybody know that creative outlet, what that has done for you? Because what
Yeah.
Green Faces is, and where do you kind of want to see that go?
Yeah, I really appreciate you bringing up my company. So thank you so much for that. It's very kind of you. Green Faces is definitely a passion project. It is a way for me to be able to have time to be creative, and it's been really fun. It's been a little bit over a year. It hasn't hit a whole lot of success, but I do really love it. The shirts are very low price, which I always am trying to always keep it that way. But really, it's just been fun to just try and like see if I can launch a business and be able to design some t-shirts. And outside of that, there's really not much more to say. It's literally me just doing some designs and putting some shirts out there. And if people buy them, then that's awesome. And if people don't, that's awesome too. You know, it's kind of just for fun for me. And it's been cool. I'm proud of myself for it, to say the least.
That's amazing. And we put the link down below. I'm putting you on the spot here, but if anybody buys anything today, they'll get a free handshake from Jeff or I or something like that in the future. We got to give some freemium or something like that for that. So
There you
it's
go.
amazing. Yeah, exactly. It's amazing to have these passion projects, because one thing I always kind of talk about is that, like you said, Monday to Friday, you're so consumed in logistics that you need to that time on the weekend to decompress. So if you don't have an outlet to kind of go do, and a healthy outlet, I know that we have Sarah from Cirilla Drinks coming on Friday, and she talks about that alcohol-free lifestyle that has been great for her. But for yourself and coming back into the industry, I know that you said you had that customer experience. I know you worked at OtterBox for a couple of years and so on. For everybody who doesn't know, they make the amazing phone cases, and I've actually dealt with them in terms of their customer service is top notch. It's the best. I've broken a case and they just sent it right away. What are some things that you've learned in that corporate, because they're very corporate as opposed to coming to, like, let's say, logistics, where you can kind of do your own kind of thing. You got a little bit of freedom to kind of go from there. But what experiences have you learned in your customer experience life in your career, as opposed to that you've kind of translated over to the logistics side?
Yeah, definitely. Great question. So, OtterBox, another amazing company I was privileged to work for, and actually really jump started my career. So I'm always thankful to the Otter world for that. But I would say customer experience has taught me everything I need to know about sales. I've always been a fan of saying that customer service or customer experience and sales hold hands, or they're best friends. They definitely are. You have a sales team who's pitching certain value proposition and promises to a new customer, and your customer experience team doesn't uphold those customers. Say goodbye to that. Say goodbye to that customer, right? If they're not upholding what the salesperson said. So customer experience is everything when it comes to sales, in my opinion. I've been successful in a lot of different industries because of how I treat my customers, and focusing on that experience rather than focusing on how can I make some more money from them, or what can I pitch to them. I found that by not doing that and just making sure they're happy and they're satisfied and talking to them about their business and genuinely caring about them as an individual has led to opportunity. They come to me and ask me, like, hey, do you handle this? Or are you able to do you have capacity for more shipments? Or are you able to help me with my payroll solution when I was in the HCM industry? And it's like, yeah, 100%. Happy to do that. What's going on? And just having that level of communication, because you focus on their experience, you make them feel good. People like to work with who they like. So that's kind of what I've learned throughout every job I've had, and try and carry that over to my colleagues too, and being a good coworker. And I think that just allows for a positive environment all the way around.
Yeah, you guys are all going to win. It's amazing. I was actually looking at Jeff here as he's smiling in the corner here as you're talking about like those referral bases. And it's amazing to kind of see the growth that you're kind of having. And if you're not hitting up Otterbox for the logistic solutions, I think you need to hit them up. No, their target market from there.
Yeah, they're covered, but it's a good thought.
I know this gets talked about quite a bit, but I like to kind of get to know people on a deeper level. What is your why? What keeps you going? Why do you want to accomplish the things that you want to accomplish?
Yeah. Wow. That's a good question. I'm really big on humanity and the world being like a beautiful place. I'm optimistic to maybe even a fault sometimes. I think the why for me is being able to learn and to achieve, but outside of that, just to give back. I just want to be able to give back in any space that I enter and be able to help. And I have some really, really good people in my circle who are there for me. And I hope that I'm there for them even half as much as they are for me, because it's really incredible to receive that kind of love and support. And so that's what motivates me is to be able to give that back and be able to just try. We all have off days and off moments. I get mad too, especially in traffic, but just to be able to promote positivity and kindness, like that's what keeps me going. That's when I find I thrive, and that's where I like to be. So.
Well, you know what? One thing that stood out to me, Brandi, was this. You were talking about your company and you said, quote unquote, if they buy it, great. If they don't, who cares? It's there. And that is such a great mindset to have in logistics when you have to make phone calls. Okay, if they want to chat to me. Okay, if they don't want to chat to me. I think that is the perfect mindset to have, because you don't take things to heart. And in this industry, that's one thing that's kind of tough, because let's face it, when you're making those phone calls, it's like 95% no's, 5% yeses. So you're always getting that negativity pounded into you every day, just waiting for that first, okay, let's discuss this. I'd love to do business with you, but it just takes so much time to get up there. So, that's why I was saying about, relating your business to logistics sales and having that mindset. I see great things coming up in your life. If you continue to go down that path and not let that get to you, that is awesome.
Thank you. It does. I'm going to be transparent. It definitely does. Anybody who makes cold calls, no matter if you make 10 or 200, there's going to be people who just rub you the wrong way, or you're just off a little bit that day. And, it's just a matter of who you surround yourself with. I have some colleagues who will not let me keep my head down. So, they're huge on those times where someone's just told you how they feel about you and where to go. And that happens, right? Not everybody's going to be in a good mood, but, I don't know. I've seen some cool comments in here. Scott, no means next opportunity. I like that. I mean, it's just going to happen.
Yeah, well, Scott, and Armstrong, they have a great training program there, and it's 12 weeks. I'm not afraid to say something about another company that does the right thing. I just wish that other companies and other brokerages would follow suit and do the same thing for newbies that are coming into, their company that's supporting them, in order for them to create, revenue, which is the number one thing, have that collaboration, all of that, leaning on each other to, get that support, is lacking a lot. And I'm glad that you said, Brandi, that you're not seeing that in KCH, that, there's a lot of collaboration, there's a lot of support, that no question is off limits. That's great. I appreciate you coming on board today. It was just fantastic. Transparency and just saying the way that it is. I believe that helps out a lot of women out there.
I hope so. I really hope so. And I appreciate you guys for having me, especially as new as I am. It's very nice of you to bring the rookies on. And I definitely am always interested in helping women. So
Yeah, I think like it's not even just about rookies. Like we all got to start somewhere. For me, I don't. That's one thing I don't look at is like how long somebody's been doing this for. It's just I can learn from everybody, and as long as everybody has that mentality that there's always something that you can learn from somebody, that's where we can kind of go. So I got a final question for you that we asked to everybody on here, and we don't want you to answer it. We're just asking you what is the question. But what is the question that you hope that we wished you asked you today?
I wish that you would have asked me, like you've asked others, how men can help women. I was fully prepared for that question. So that's the question I wish you would have asked. But you ask it every other episode, so not enough.
So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna ad hoc it today because this one's a really important one. So,
Yeah.
Brandi, how can men help women in our industry?
Yeah. Well, again, kudos to you too, because you're practicing allyship and not just preaching it, which is step one. But I would say this. We've all been born in a world that taught us different things. And some of those things we knowingly know that we know, and some of those things we unknowingly know. And so I think it's important that men get into the space of learning, but also unlearning, and understand that they may not necessarily be at fault for what they know, but it's time to unknow those things and to unlearn those things. And second of all, and most importantly, is call men out when you see them doing something to women that is unfair. We need that. We need men to hold men accountable, right? Sexist behavior is a male's problem, right? So we need to ensure that the men who are allies to us are calling those men out. I think that's the biggest one. And it doesn't have to be in any negative light or any hostility, but just having the conversation with your friends or your male colleagues and saying like, hey, like that could be misconstrued, or just a thought. That is huge for us.
You know what? If I had a mic right now, I would just do a mic drop. Boom. I mean, that was probably the best answer that I've heard on that.
Yeah, it's awesome to kind of hear, and we'll take that. We'll take that as well. I know Jeff and I, and everybody was kind of watching from there. Will we see you at Women in Trucking at the Accelerate this November in Dallas?
I hope so. I'm hoping I can go. My next show is going to be at the end of this month in Kentucky at the Mid-American Trucking Show. So if you're there, please come find me.
Perfect. So that's gonna be awesome. So let everybody know how they can get a hold of you. I know you said you're gonna be at Matt's at the end of the month. Let everyone know how they can network with you.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for that. LinkedIn is definitely always the place to find me. I've met a lot of cool people, some of which I see are in the comments right now on LinkedIn. I am on LinkedIn a lot. My email is bchurch@kchtrans.com. You can email me as well. Feel free to reach out to me, whether you're looking for your freight needs to be covered or you just want to chat, or maybe you have something you want to pitch. I'll always listen to a pitch. I will always refer where I can. So just jump in the inbox and let me know, and we can kind of go from there.
All right. Well, we can't thank you enough. This has been so much fun. We got to do this again. I usually ask that last question so we can hook somebody to come back in, but I guess you're cool, so you'll come back in the future. So it's awesome to have you here. So thank you so much for taking your time out of your day. And I got a new Duolingo partner that I'm gonna be practicing with, practicing my Spanish. I need to definitely get up for that. So thank you to the audience for coming out today. Great support today. If you found value in this, please like, comment, and subscribe. Share this with a friend. Share this with a neighbor, a colleague. Like we said, the Amazon driver who's bringing your package over today, give them the link, just give them a little QR code that they can check out this chat, because there's a lot of value in here. We'll be hitting the replay again at 2 and 6 p.m. Eastern time, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Twitter. And then tomorrow, we got Data Day. We got Dean Croak, the principal analysis from DAT Freight. He's amazing. I was checking out his show today, and apparently Jeff and Brandi, there was a little bit of a merger that kind of broke the internet this morning in the logistics world, but we'll be talking a little bit more about that tomorrow. Other than that, thank you to our corporate sponsor, Daman at Centurion Trucking. If you're an agent and you're looking to make a move across North America, he's looking for agents paying up to 60% GP. And with that being said, I can finally breathe. Thank you, Brandi. Jeff, take us home, my man.
Yes, thank you so much, Brandi, for joining us this morning. I can tell you right now, you don't sound like a rookie. I know you said that in the beginning about, hey, thank you for bringing on a rookie, but really, I mean, the way you're going about your business and conducting it and trying to help others find their space is awesome. So we appreciate you joining us this morning. We'd love to have you come back at a
Yes.
future time. So thank you again. So tomorrow, like my good friend Ryan said, we got Data Day Wednesday, one of our favorite days of the week. So put it on your calendars. Come and join us. Listen what's happening in the market, what's hot, what's not. So check us out tomorrow here live on Sales Chatter Live, daily podcast at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day, folks. Audacious Cowboy out.